Hi everyone, I just thought I would give you an insight into how I actually became a head teacher. I used to live in a place called Kendal in Cumbria, and that's where I went to school and did my GCSEs and A-levels. And I did A-levels in, I'm having to think now, music, history and sociology. And from there, I always had a very, very musical background, and I did training at the Royal Northern College of Music. And I then decided I wanted to go and do a music degree. So I went to Edinburgh University and had an amazing time there, and I became president of the Opera Society. I'm not sure whether you know, I am an opera singer, but I also play piano, oboe and cor anglais, and I've got grade 8 by the Royal Associated Board Royal School of Music. And I absolutely love performing. So as part of my degree, I did a specialist kind of course called Music in the Community, and that was bringing music to either children of primary school ages or children with special disabilities. And my two projects were working in a special school for severely mentally disabled children, and how music really touched their lives, and because they found communication really, really difficult. I learned a lot about me in that process, and I really admired what the carers did for them. So that was a big kind of learning curve for me, really, because I've not been really exposed to that before. And then another opposite end of the spectrum is I worked in Stockton Prison in Edinburgh. Please don't think I was a prison warden or anything like that. It was the rehab side of working with inmates. Because some of them were really quite kind of musical. I found that really quite challenging and really quite difficult. But again, it was an experience that kind of shapes my thinking of what I wanted to be. I then went to a primary school as part of that course. And I really, really admire primary school teachers. Their patience knows no bounds. And I really enjoyed working within kind of education. I was then at a crossroads. Do I become a performer or do I become a teacher? Because I'd always loved the idea of leading people and helping them to learn and really making a difference. So I decided that it was teaching that I wanted to go and do. I loved performing, I loved being on stage, but you have to be at a certain level. I would not have liked to just be in the chorus of an opera society. I would want to be a kind of star of the show, and the competition was really, really, really fierce, and you had to be so good. And you have to take a long, hard look at yourself, because we all aspire to be these people, but you have to have the skill set to kind of be able to do it. And I really wasn't prepared to put myself through that. I had to look at just how good I was, but was I good enough? Now, I knew that I had a real passion and a spark for teaching, and people had seen that in me and my leadership. So I decided to do a postgraduate certificate in education. I did that at a place called Moray House in Edinburgh. Wonderful. I really, really found my niche after looking for so many years of where was I really going to flourish. I found school really hard. I found my own personal school really hard. I had to study and work really hard. I found maths difficult. I found some aspects of science, but I had to push myself, and I had to work incredibly hard to get my GCSEs and my A-levels, but it wasn't going to stop me. And I knew the areas and the relationships I had with my teachers, and so that kind of formed really my philosophy in what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be as a teacher, and what I wanted the children that I'm teaching to feel, because I'd have good experiences at school, and I'd had some not good experiences at school. And I think that was really important. I did 3 brilliant placements, 3 very different schools, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. So then I secured a job at Rainford High School in St Helens, and I was a music teacher there. And I saw a lot of potential in me. I think that's what's really good when you're in a good place in terms of your career. People see potential, and I was allowed to have my choir. So I had 2 choirs of one of 150 and one of 100. I won all sorts of different things. And I had actually, in my first few years of teaching, the best time of my life. I really wanted leadership roles. They saw that in me. They wanted to keep me at the school, and then I became assistant head of sixth form. And I used to do a lot of the careers work around the college applications and university applications, and I especially looked after Oxford and Cambridge, which was very exciting. And I got to take the students down there to experience that. that. From then, I went to be Director of Performing Arts at a school called Pembeck in Wigan. Very, very different school to Rainford. And that's where I learnt really how to be a leader. And that's when I really cemented the fact that I really wanted to be a head teacher, because those students really needed me and I really wanted to make a difference. I was also head of music there, and then I became assistant head of teaching and learning. In 2008, I became deputy head here. The dream job in a way, because it was a faith school and I had a faith background, but also they needed somebody to run the kind of the music aspect, because it was a music college school in terms at the time when they had those kind of college statuses, the schools did. And then I just absolutely kind of fell in love with the school, the community, and knew where the school could go and the potential it had. And I really set my sights on becoming the head teacher one day. And when in 2014, you get that phone call that you've actually achieved your dream that you've had from a very young age, I can't put into words how that makes you feel. Because I had a goal that I always aspired to be a head teacher, and once I'd realised that, and yes, it was a difficult road at times, and you question yourself, but that determination, that passion was really there. And for me to be able to stand up in front of my children, my own children at home, but also my children at school, and say, actually, you can achieve what you set your mind to. I wasn't a straight A student. I worked hard. I gave everything I had. I made mistakes. Of course I made mistakes along the way, but I actually never gave up on my dream. And I can sit here now and say I definitely have the best job in the world. Being head teacher at Thomas Butler Church in high school, for me, it doesn't get any better than that. So my advice to you is, if you have that passion, you want to do it, make sure you've got the skill set. Whereas I wanted to be an opera singer, I had to think long and hard, would I really make it? Or would I really make it as that head teacher? And I made the right decision. Still love performing, still love being on stage, miss it, but I have got a dream job. So follow those aspirations, make sure you have the right skill set, make sure you do your research, and honestly, if you've got all that behind you, then you won't go far wrong.